Yeah, there we go.
There we go. All right. Thank everybody for waiting. I know it was a little bit delayed. Welcome to Believe in Magic Place Q&As. My name's Alex. I'll be your host today. And we have today with us the great Peter Nardi. Woo! Thank,
Hi.
thank you for joining us today, Peter.
You're more than welcome.
All right, so it's gonna take a couple minutes for everybody to re-click the link to get everything up. In the meantime, let's start with a bit of an introduction. If you could just kind of give a quick mini bio and just give us a little bit of your beginnings in magic and kind of how you got to where you are now.
Right. Well, I started magic. I had an interest in magic when I was about 5 years old. Ever since I can remember, I've always been fascinated by magic. I was around about 8 newspaper and booked me up some lessons with this guy, and the guy's name was Jack Delvin, who has just been the president of the Magic Circle. And Jack taught me for a good year or so. It wasn't a huge amount of time, but it was a good year or so. He started up a magic business, actually selling magic in a department store, and aged about 10 or 11, I was his demonstrator, doing the Svengali decks, doing the dynamic coins, all the standard things. And then I think when I reached about 13 years old, I got into, or 14 years old actually, I got into DJing, mixing, scratching, hip hop back then, which was all quite new when I was at that age. So I gave up magic, really, got into DJing, got into women, as you do at that age. So I didn't actually start magic again till I was around about 21 years old, 20 or 21, when I had a recording studio. I closed that down and got myself a job because the studio wasn't paying back then. And then I found Davenport's in London, which I used to go to when I was very young, but they had moved. I thought they had closed down, but they just moved location, so I found them. And as many hobbyists do, I would go into Davenport's, buy a trick, show my wife, show my family, and then next week I'd have to go and buy another trick. And that's how it started. And then being a bit of an entrepreneur, you know, my mum certainly got me into that. I started realizing that I could buy, instead of buying one trick, I could buy 4, sell 3, and then that means mine's free of charge. And then that's how Alakazam started, and that was almost 25 years ago, I think.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
In perspective, I'm 25.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. So, God, my company's as old as you.
That's what I'm saying. And actually, that's really funny because you bring that up because the question I asked in the thread was, you know, what challenges you had going through, what kind of challenges you faced juggling, performing, and running a major magic website, and or rather a major magic shop. And it sounds like it was more of a convenience than a burden.
Yeah.
At the time.
Do you know what? Magic itself, I owe so much to magic. When I mean, you won't remember this really, but when I started Alakazam Magic, the magic business was not what people know now. There wasn't the internet. When I started Alakazam, there wasn't the internet. So the way magic was sold was either you go to a magic shop, or you buy a magic magazine and you order it online from someone that's, you know, selling it mail order. And what would happen would be me and Jenny, we would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drive miles and miles and miles to a little convention. We'd make a few sales, go home, and then I'd sit on the computer, write out a newsletter, send that out. We would get orders for a few days, then it would be dead until we write another newsletter, which would all be sent by mail. There was no email. The business was, the business was different. Even if you look at the lifespan, or the expected lifespan of a trick now, and it's weeks. When a trick comes out, everyone's got it within a week. Back then, I could demonstrate the same trick for 5 years, and unless you had been to a magic shop, it would be new to you. You wouldn't have seen it. So the magic business has changed incredibly. Before Alakazam started putting products in colour packaging, it was all photocopied instructions in a little grip seal bag, and that's what you would get. I think we were, well, Richard Kaufman's, in his Genie article on us a few years back, said that we changed the way magic looked and the magic packaging, and we sort of brought it more up to date. When I released magic, I wanted it to look like a product that you would walk into any store and see on the shelves. I wanted you to see you were getting value for money the moment you opened your parcel. And that's really what Alakazam is. That's what we've tried to create.
Which is important. There's so many times when you just kind of look, it's almost like an ad copy. Go, well, I mean, it kind of looks cool, and that person can make it look cool, but like, is it mine? Is it for me? That sort of thing. It's nice to have a better display, a bigger display, something you can really almost tangible before you make your decision, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that's the other thing that's happened with the magic market. We went from having little catalogue descriptions, which were incredible. I remember when I first started back in magic when I was about 20, I remember ordering this little, because you had to pay for little magic catalogues back then. You didn't get them for nothing. So I sent off for a magic catalogue. It come through. I sat there, and I think I chose about 6 tricks that really had me thinking, my God, you can take a piece of paper, fold it up, unfold it, and it's going to be a real £10 note. I'll order that. There was another one. You can take someone's cigarette, put it into your hand, and it vanishes. I'll order that. I ordered 6 tricks, and when they arrived, I got 6 fun tips. So even though but each trick, I was sitting there amazed, going, "Oh my God, I need to know how." And literally, I just got 6 fun tips and 6 different bits of instructions. And that sort of, if we're not careful, that's going to go full circle, because some of the trailers that are coming out now, you're not even seeing what the trick is. We've got to be very careful with the way things are happening. We're very, with Alakazam, I'm very strict. I always make sure the ad copy is 100% correct and not misleading in any way, because you can use clever wording and marketing, but I'm very careful with all of that to make sure it's absolutely legit. And the same with the trailers. I try as much as we can to put unedited trailers on there so you can see what you're getting.
No, I absolutely agree. There's so many times when you just watch an ad copy today and it's just words on a screen and then people going, in reactions, and that's all you get. You don't even see, I don't even know what I'm buying. It's just apparently the amazing thing, and these 3 magicians that are famous have now endorsed it, so it must be good.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with that. All right, let's start diving into questions, because I could sit here and talk with you on a personal basis all day. All right, so let's just go in no particular order. Today, we got one from, oh, wait, where'd it go? Sorry, I just scrolled through. It is Frank Tugas.
Hi, Frank.
Hello, Frank. And Frank, oh man, I scrolled right past it, I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. It says, all mentalists, nope, sorry, that's the wrong one as well. I apologize. Oh, here we go. Glenn Hazen. We'll go with Glenn Hazen while I find Frank's question. Glenn Hazen asks, how do you feel about overusing playing cards in mentalism?
You know what? I have never, ever had an issue with using playing cards in mentalism. Now, the thing that a lot of people, there's sort of two camps. A lot of people know me for my mentalist or mentalism creations.
Yes, sir.
And I also, even though I create mentalism, I create a lot of magic. When I'm out performing, I will do, it depends what the situation is. Now, well, I would say 6 times out of 10, if I'm booked just to do a normal gig, chances are a majority of what I'm performing will be magic. And I'll explain why in a bit. But my true love is mentalism. But I have never, ever, and I know there's this argument, it always goes on, a mentalist shouldn't use playing cards. I disagree. A mentalist can use whatever they want. My job as a mentalist or a mind reader is to read your mind, whether that is a playing card or an ESP symbol. It makes no difference. The beauty of a packet of cards is I've got 52 completely different objects in one little box. And that's the way you describe it. That's the way I describe it. You know, I could bring in 52 different items and get you to choose one, but I haven't got room. So in fact, I've got 52 completely different items in this box. You're going to choose one, you're going to choose one at random. My job is to try and get inside your mind and tell you which one you've got. Now, obviously, it can't be a guess. If it was a guess, I'd have to be the luckiest man alive. I'm actually going to try and get in there, and I'm going to try and tell you exactly which card you're thinking of, the colour, the suit, the value. So straight away, I haven't got a problem, and there is, you know, there's so many different fields of thought, whether it's shouldn't use playing cards. You've got to let your spectators know what your special powers are, and you can't deviate from them. I personally disagree. I feel as a mind reader, people, if I say I can read your mind to a lay spectator and then I do a spoon bend, they don't go, whoa, hang on. If he can read my mind, there's no way he can bend a spoon. Those two just do not go together. If I can read your mind and bend a spoon, people expect me to be able to do all this weird, crazy, wonderful stuff. So, you know, I think sometimes we read a little bit too much into it as the performer. But, you know, if you don't want to use playing cards, that's equally a valid choice. It's you and how you feel about it. If you feel it demeans what you're doing or devalues what you're doing, then that's a decision that you've got to take. For me personally, I've got no issue. And, you know, a lot of people know that my best friend is Mark Spellman. We've known each other for years. We've done a lot of projects together, and Mark is one of the best mentalists in the world, and he uses cards all the time, you know, and we always come up with good mentalist card stuff because it's great. Where else are you going to get 52 objects in a little box like that you can carry with you in your pocket? So
absolutely.
I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
What was that?
I said I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
Oh no, not at all. I couldn't agree with you more. I've been under the impression my entire learning career, at least, that it's not about the trick, it's about the performer. So it really shouldn't matter what you're performing with and what you're performing. It's how you present it, purely how you present it.
Yeah, and some people, the problem is with arguments like these that start, and this is an argument that's been going back, I mean, ever since I got into mentalism, this argument's been going. And the way you've got to look at it is it's not an argument. There is no right, there is no wrong. If you personally feel cards are not for me in mentalism, that's your decision. And I'm not going to stand there and go, if you think you can't use cards, you're wrong. Because you're not wrong. If that's how you feel, then you shouldn't use them.
Right.
It's not down to me to say my values and my ideas are the only ones that matter. They don't. That's what works for me. And You know, I feel whatever you feel comfortable with as a performer is the right decision, no matter what it is.
You're selling yourself. That's what you're doing. So if it's not genuine, you can't sell it. People are just going to realize that. Actually, this goes great into the next question from Gasant Ludrian. He asks, should a mentalist make their own character? I feel that kind of feels within the same area of questioning.
Yeah, do you know what? I think they should, but I think you need to look at yourself and what your own character is, what you look like as a person. Now, I'm gonna mention Spellman again, because if you saw Spellman walking down the street and you didn't know what he did for a living, you would look at him and go, God, he looks weird. You know, he has got that mystical look about him. You just look at him and you know he can do crazy stuff. Whereas me, I'm sort of, you know, I don't look like that, so I can't do all this weird, mysterious magic. With me, it's I just do it. I just go out there and do it, and I'm quite serious about it. I'll throw in a few sort of gags if the time's right, but usually I do it quite seriously, and I try to separate. If I'm out performing and I'm performing magic, I won't combine magic and mentalism. So I won't go and do a ring flight, sponge balls, and then read your mind. If I'm out there doing magic, I will then later on in the evening say, look, you know, I showed you that stuff, that sleight of hand stuff, but there's something else I've been doing for a few years. It might work, it might not. We'll do it as a little experiment. Let's see how it goes. And I will separate it in their mind as well as my own as a performance. But I think, you know, yes, you should look at your character. And when I go out and perform, I am in character, even though that character is me. It's a bigger me. It's a louder me. I'm usually quite a shy guy. If I turn up at a party as an invited guest, I'm not your typical I want to be heard by everyone magician. I will, you know, I'm quite a shy guy. I'll just go, I'll do what I'm doing. If I'm out to perform and I'm being paid to perform, I will walk in and I will be what they expect me to be. So I will go into character. So yeah, you should go into character, you know, and you should build a character, but make sure your character suits who you are. You can't be a 15-year-old kid and pretend you've had this ability for 30 years. That doesn't work. You know, you've got to do something that suits you and the way you look. But everyone, you know, everyone can find a perfect character.
I was going to say, unless you're a comedy magician.
Yeah.
15. Oh yeah, I've been performing for 30 years, and actually, I want to mention before we go any further, we have 2 contests going on. Wanted to let the live viewers know that we have a live contest right around the hour mark. Wait a second. How much time did you devote to us there, Peter?
Whatever you need.
Whatever you need. All right. So on average, we're sitting around an hour and a half to 2 hours. So what we'll do is around.
Fine. If you can put up with me for that long, then you're fine.
Oh, we have more than enough questions coming in to put up with you for as long as you'll allow us to. So what we'll do is around the hour mark, we will run the contest, the first contest, the live contest. We will be letting loose a word, and it is shift. And you will be messaging me at www.facebook.com/projectabort, Project Abort. Message me the word shift when we announce it, and we'll take the 7th, we'll say, message gets the assassin's wallet, the stealth assassin's wallet. Does that sound good to you, Peter?
Sounds great.
All right,
still
and then
my wallet of choice.
What was that?
It's still my wallet of choice. Here it is in my back pocket as we speak.
Almost every single person that we saw comment on it, I mean, including Art Vanderlei, was going, yes, no, this is like the wallet to get. So I personally am just sad that I don't get to participate in the contest. That being said, we do have one more contest for the after show, and we'll be touching on that at the very end of the show. But let's go ahead and move back into questions and get, now that we have all of that semantic stuff out of the way. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So a bit of a follow-up question to Croissant's earlier question, just because it was right underneath and kind of relates. He asked, let me see here. He asks, which is more important, character or presentation?
I think presentation is more important. You've got to. A character for me is something that the audience are going to connect with. You know, the character's what they're going to connect with, but the presentation's what's going to keep them interested, what's going to make them believe what you're doing. So I think presentation is, you know, if you went out just as you are now and you've done the best trick in the world with the best presentation, they're going to love you.
You there? Still got you, Peter?
I am. It's just
okay. Sorry, you froze up for a second.
presentation is key. You've got to keep them interested. You've got to make them want to continue on this journey with you.
I absolutely agree. Sorry, you cut out a couple of times, but I caught the last part there. No, I absolutely agree. As much as, you know, who you are is important. If, you know, your presentation isn't there and you're not connecting with your audience, then your character doesn't matter to them. You have to kind of make who you are matter to them. You have to make them like you in a way.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And the thing is, the character, you know, the character itself will build for anyone out there that's sort of just getting into it or hasn't been out there performing. Don't force anything. You will find who you're meant to be, you know. And believe you me, the first time I went out and performed, I was certainly not the type of person I should have been. I was very quiet. I was most probably extremely boring when I was performing. It was just really weird. It was only after I went out a few times, and I remember watching a DVD, and I can't even remember what one it was. It wasn't a fantastic DVD. There was nothing on it that really I wanted to do or anything else, but there was just something that clicked in my head. And like I said to you, where I'm a shy person, I would walk up to a table with people and I'd go, oh, would you mind if I showed you a little trick? And I would do the piece of magic down here, no one else could see. And then I watched this DVD and something just clicked in my mind and said, they're actually expecting me to be loud when I walk in. They're expecting me to command the whole table. They're expecting me to command the situation. So the next time I went in there, I was quite loud, I was in charge, and I felt good. I got a lot more respect from the audience. But it takes time. You know, you will find exactly who you're supposed to be in time.
It takes practice. You have to. That was something we touched on the last interview. Is if you're not performing, you can never. If you're not going out and taking those chances and failing, you're never going to grow. It's not going down.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to fail. At the end of the day, when you're performing an effect, 9 times out of 10, even if you fail halfway through, even if you lose a spectator's card, whatever you're doing, you can mostly get out of it without them even knowing you've made a mistake.
And that takes time.
Only when you're not confident. Yeah. It takes time and it takes confidence. If you're not confident, as soon as you make a mistake, your whole body language will shout it out to everyone.
Right.
But if you're, you know, believe you me, I've done it. I've been controlling cards. I've lost cards. I've even palmed the wrong card into my carding wallet, you know, and produced it. And I still got a round of applause. I don't know how. I pulled out the wrong card, and they still thought it was amazing. So it's really weird. But you can usually get out of these things. But it's confidence, and confidence comes with getting out there and doing it. The more you do it, the more confident you're going to become.
Right. The thing I always try to suggest to people, and what I use in my personal life is, look, if you're not confident, go out and fake it. Fake it as hard as you can. And eventually, you won't have to fake it anymore. It's kind of like Puss in Boots syndrome. The mask will transcend the character.
Yeah.
And it'll just happen. You'll get used to just joking around, going, "Oh well, I screwed that up a little bit. Let's go on something else. Let's move on." And people will just be like, "Oh, it was fun anyway."
Yeah.
So I absolutely.
And that just leads me on to that's why everyone should carry an invisible deck, whether you're using it as a trick or as an out. You've got an invisible deck with you, you're never going to mess up a card trick again. Unless, of course, you mess up the card trick and the invisible deck, then there's no hope. But, if you're doing a card trick, you lose their card, you think I've lost it, but look in here, I made a prediction. Boom, boom, boom. You're there. So, yeah.
People are used to the fake fails.
Pardon?
People are used to the fake fails anyway.
Yeah, of course. The sucker endings, it's, I do those all the time where, oh, it's the wrong card. No, it isn't. Yeah. So, I mean, it's all confidence, and you're exactly right. And what you said is exactly what I do, because I'm not the most confident of people in general, but when I'm performing, I am. And it is a character that I go into, and it's not even, I don't even think about it anymore. I just, as soon as I start performing, the character just switches in. That's it. I don't think to myself, okay, I've got to get in character. It just happens. And it's if you were to film me speaking to you and then performing, you would just see it go, boom. It just changes.
Absolutely. It's like going from your personal way you act in your personal life to your business life. It's the exact same thing.
That's it.
Let's see here. Okay. I found Frank Tugas's question. He asks, how can you make a prop trick such as like a book test credible?
See, once again, it depends how. There's various different presentations that people usually use for a book test. Now, whether you're going to go for a super memory type presentation where I've memorized this book, and I can, whatever word you're thinking of, I'll tell you, just tell me what page. Or alternatively, I mean, if I'm performing I love book tests. I've got quite a few book tests. And if I'm performing something like the mother of all book tests, I will usually use that as in part of a larger routine. So the word they're picking is part of a larger routine, whether it's part of a one ahead routine, whether it's part of a reveal where someone selected something over here, someone selected a word from a book. To me, if I was going to do a sort of fuller routine with the book test, my personal favourite for years has been Ultimate Flashback. And I combine Ultimate Flashback with the mother of all book tests. Because the beauty of the mother of all book tests is it's completely hands-off. With a lot of what's happening in Ultimate Flashback, at some point you're pretty hands-on. So it's nice. When I've done a big series of effects with Ultimate Flashback, I can then turn around and say, oh, actually, I'm missing it. Has someone got oh, you've got a book. Do me a favour, don't bother coming up. Just open it to any page for me, have a look down, and pick a word. Let's go for something challenging. We've done all these other bits. Make it difficult. Go for a biggie, and you just get them to pick a big word, and you're done. And it's nice because if anyone thinks, oh, he's always touching the books, suddenly I'm not touching the book. So you're putting in a hurdle. So if they think they've got the method, suddenly it's blown out the water. And the other little tip, if anyone does any book test like mother of all book tests, where we are going for, you know, a longer word, a nice presentation angle I use is about passwords. Our life at the moment is all about passwords. It doesn't matter what you do, whether bank account, whether you're doing your shopping online, whether you even want to get into your own computer, you've got to put a password in. Now, when you get a password, the best way to get a password is not to choose anything that can be connected with you. Most people will go for their mother's maiden name, their cat's name, their dog's name, their wife's name. The best way to get a password is to open a book randomly, pick out a word that has absolutely no connection to you, and that now becomes your password. So if anyone finds your computer, it doesn't matter what they try, they cannot find anything that's connected to you because the word isn't connected to you. So I'm going to ask you just to open the book. You're going to pick a password. As with all passwords, make it more than 6 letters long. And then, you know, I'm straight there without having to say anything else, you know.
That's brilliant.
And it's a nice little angle.
Absolutely. No, that's a great way to force. You use a force with it just being a social interaction. I mean, that's like just a thing that is, yeah. That's, I mean, I don't even know. I'm struggling for words because that's actually really brilliant. We got another question coming up, Glenn Hazen. And I like this question because hopefully it'll lead into some of the things you might be creating and coming out with soon. But it says, how do you start your thinking process of a new effect? So what's your creation process? And to add to that, do you have anything possibly in the pipeline that you might want to, you know, hint at?
Yeah. Well, for me, and I think for a lot of creators out there, the easy part for me is method. If you said to me, I will say as well, I've been consultant on a few TV shows and things like that. So I'll talk about that in a moment, because one of those was a show where we had to be very creative. It was something new. It was a game show, but it was revolved around mentalism. So the host was a mentalist, a very good mentalist called Philippa Scoffey over here in the UK, and he would have 2 contestants. He would set up a challenge, and right at the end of that challenge, he would say, so is it possible that country you're just thinking of in your mind, is it possible that I've got it here, written in this envelope? And they would actually gamble money on whether it was possible or not. And then depending whether it was possible or not, they would either win or lose. It was a really good, fun concept. And I'll tell you about some of the things I came up with for that, some of the challenges. But my creative process, the hardest thing for me is working out what trick I want to do. If I can work out what trick I want to do, if you were to turn around and say, Peter, I want to achieve this, I can work out how it's done. But it's coming up with what the ending is. That for me is the hard part. So my creative process is, I will just sit there and think, actually that would be really nice, and then I work backwards. And I think you'll find most creators that are creating for themselves, and which is what I do. I don't create magic to sell. Even though I do sell it, I know that sounds a bit weird, but I'm not, you know, I'm not thinking, oh my God, I've got to think of a product. I don't. When I create for me. I create, if you look at I Change, my card to pocket routine, I've always loved the interchange plot, and I used to perform it the sleight of hand way. And I just kept working and working and working and working, trying to get the sleight of hand down, 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 till it looked as clean as it could possibly look. And that's how I created I Change, and it was created for me. the assassin was created for me. The Mind Spy was created for me. These things I created for myself, but I offer them to you. So yeah, the creative process for me personally is I will want to achieve something for me, and then I will work backwards from that point. So that's usually the best way to do it, is to think of what you want the ending to be, and then work back, because you'll find method is usually easier than effect in creating.
There's a million methods. Yeah, there's a million methods to achieve a certain effect. You have to go, okay, what do I want it to look like? I want all the spectators to think that they read my mind. Okay, now how am I going to achieve that? And just build into that. Okay, well I have to do this, and I'm gonna have to do that, and earlier I'm gonna have to do this. So it's a process. I think a lot of creators build in that way. And I think what makes your products so popular is that you build them for yourself. You go, what would I do? And then you go and play with it until you find something that works really well. And it's only then that you go, okay, well, I really like this. Other people will probably like this too. Let's, see what it's worth and put a price on it. So I get what you're saying by you build them for yourself, and then it just happens that other people really it's popular enough for them to purchase.
Yeah, and it's it's very interesting, because when I build stuff for me, it's got to be. I can do sleight of hand, that's what I grew up with, but I'm no Ben Earl, I'm no Mike Vincent, I'm no Ben Earl, so I'm not brilliant at sleight of hand. I can do it. I can do what I need to get by. So everything that I create, I try and create it by taking out as many sleights as I possibly can. And one of the biggest things that trips people up when they're creating is just because you can do all these fancy sleights doesn't mean you've got to put them all into one trick. Yeah? And that's the biggest thing. Because whenever someone shows me a trick and says, Peter, what do you think of this? I can guarantee you I can strip out half the sleights and lose absolutely none of the effect. But that's a natural thing. You create to your own abilities. Mm-hmm. So, you will start adding things on, whereas there are easier ways. And for me, I try to find the cleanest route to the end effect. I just want to tell you, actually, because this was one of my favourite things I created for this TV show. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have the understanding that basically you set up a challenge, and then they bet on whether it's possible or impossible. So one of the challenges I created, which was really good, and it was a celebrity special of this show. So we had 2 celebrities. On the stage, we had 6 boxes on pedestals. And the idea was that inside each of the boxes was a clue. Okay? They could only choose 5 out of the 6, and whatever clues they would get would help them solve the end question. Okay? So basically, the spectator said, I'll have box number 2. So we said to him, okay, you put your hand in box number 2 and take out a clue. So they've done this, and they've done with 5 chosen boxes. So at the end, they've got their 5 items, and the items were things like there was a watch with only 1 hand, there was a G.I. Joe with only 1 hand, there was a bust of Nelson, obviously 1 hand, there was all these things, and they couldn't work out what was in the last box. But that wasn't the challenge. The challenge was, is it possible that in that last box there is a loaded set bear trap? So that was it, right? So they had to decide whether, and bearing in mind these were freely chosen boxes, that inside that last box was a real working live bear trap. So if they put their hand in that box, it would have taken it off. And they said it was false, but it was actually true. When we uncovered it, there was a real bear trap in there. And that to me was most probably one of my favourite creations. was that effect for that show.
Yeah, that's
it
okay.
was just it was,
Okay, yeah.
you know.
No, I'm trying to visualize this all taking place, but okay, I get what's going on. No, that had to have freaked them out though. That had to have
Well,
absolutely.
it was really interesting because obviously, you know, they're speaking to each other because there's two of them, so they can discuss this thing. And you know, one of them said to the other one, "But it can't be in there because they can't risk us losing their hands." And the other one said, "Well, we did sign a lot of forms," and it was like, you know, the way they're thinking about it. It was really good, and I actually based it on. I released a product with Mark Spellman called No Chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got, you know, the spike routine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a version of that because the way the spike routine usually goes is there's a spike under one of the cups, mix them up, and I'm going to slam my hand down on them.
I do that.
Now, the way I do it, do you do that?
Yes.
Did you say? Oh my God, you've got.
What's up?
You've got bigger than I have. I couldn't do it.
I do one with a real spike actually. I have a pretty good method I think, and I've only almost ever messed it up once, and I was really lucky. I had a contingency on how I hit it to have it go through, but I was really wary of what was going on. But for the most part, it's real spike, real cups, whole 9 yards. So yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I've got the way I do it is on the table. I've got some cups. Yeah, I've got 6 cups, and I say to the spectator, I get someone up, and I say, under each one of these cups is a prize. Now you're going to win and take home one of these prizes, okay? And you're going to choose that prize in a moment. But 5 of these prizes you're not going to leave with. They'll stay with me. Now, hopefully, there is a prize I want you to take home, and I really, really hope you get it. Now, at first, you're going to think, oh, I wish I had one of the others. But in time, you're going to realise this is the best prize you could have taken home. Okay? I hand them 3 dice, and I say, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to roll the dice. Whatever numbers come up, you can, let's say number 2, number 3, number 4 comes up. You can choose to get rid of prize number 2, number 3, or number 4, or all 3 of them, or 2 of them. The choice is going to be yours. So they roll the dice, and I say to them, okay, which ones do you want to get rid of? So basically, they get rid of 5 prizes by slamming their hands down on the cups. And now the final prize, I lift up the cup, and they've got a massive, great big nail sticking out, and then I hand them that, and I say, at first you might think you would have preferred the £50 note, but sooner or later you're going to realise you've gone away with the best prize. And the thing is, they don't understand at first, but then they start thinking, hang on a minute, I could have put my hand down on that. So it's sort of a different take. Rather than letting them know it's under there and mixing them up first, they don't know what's under there. They're not scared of anything, and then suddenly they think, what would have happened if I, you know, and I like that, what goes on in their head after. And that's basically what I based. Yeah.
What was that?
No, I was going to say that's what I based the manicure thing. And I will say that I worked on that show, you know, Philippa Scoffey's very, very creative, and there was another fantastic creative mentalist working as part of the consultancy team called Phil Smith, who come up with some killer mentalism. Very, very clever guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm between the two of them because is the one your cup smash, is that a released effect or is that just something you do?
Yes, it is. It's something that's been off the market for a couple of years. It actually came in a set. It was called No Chance. You might be able to pick it up from some dealers, but it was by me and Mark Spellman, and it wasn't expensive. You make it yourself, You know, so you get the DVD, you get a couple of gimmicks with it, but we teach, you know, a few different routines on the DVD. And the cup one, I just like the approach with the cup one because it's rather than showing them the spike first. And I always, you know, me personally, I always feel that if you're doing the spike, even though there is tension, I always believe that inside their mind they must think, well, he must know where it is, you know, because he's making the choice. Whereas with this one, it doesn't matter if I know where it is because you could have slammed your hand down on it. You know, so it's just sort of a slightly different take on it, and a take that I enjoy because I like what the spectators do to their own mind when they start thinking about it. You know, it's like doing a card trick where they went, what if I change my mind? What if? Well, you didn't. You know, you went for that one. Yeah, but what if? Yeah, but you didn't. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Actually, very similarly, I built with one of my performing partners a staple gun Russian roulette routine where it's a double blind mix, and the spectator chooses all the guns for me to fire into the partner, and they're all real guns. They all could have been loaded, but none of them fire except for the last one. So that idea of, well, how did I do that? That is just a last something that they'll never go away.
Yeah, and that's what I like. It's not risk, is it? You do?
No. The staple gun is no risk at all. I completely.
No. It's not the trick risk because we released the staple gun roulette years ago by a great Italian mentalist called Francesco Tassai, which was a DVD, and that was staple.
It may be a released routine, but this is one I was just sitting on. I was thinking about doing a staple routine with myself, and I was thinking about methods, and then a guy I sometimes perform with was talking about doing a two-man show for a little while, and he was going to let me do the handling because I'm quicker with the hands. He's more of the talker. So I wanted to, with me, I don't mind risking my own health and limbs. I eat glass, I eat fire, I do that sort of stuff, so I don't mind. But I don't like the idea of risking somebody else's health and well-being. So I had to find a way around it that was completely foolproof, that built all the suspense and still had no way of ever harming it. So I think I achieved that really well. It takes two people to do indefinitely, but there's no big moves, nothing huge. It's just very direct. Hand me the gun. Let's build some suspense. Click. You know, that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure if it's released. It was just something that I was like, hey, let's do this without killing him.
Yeah. And that's the way you create. You come up with the idea and then you work backwards and find your method and something that suits you. It's great. See, I don't do risky stuff. Spellman does. Spellman's very, you know, there's a hammer and there's a bottle. He'll find something to do to harm himself. He's you know, I can't do it. I can't touch my eyes. I can't, you know. And it's a shame because, well, the only thing I do, yeah, see, that's what Mark does just to annoy me. I can't do it. The only thing I can do is blockhead. I do blockhead, but that's...
Oh, I can't do that one.
See, I can do that.
Oh, man. Yeah, you know, I don't mind losing a little flesh for a bit. That to me, I learned at a young age to take stage falls really well. So, you know, it just kind of from there. I take solace in the fact that the ground has hit me harder than any person can. Bartholomew Simpson asks, and I hope I did that right. What is your go-to effect, and how often do you change your opener?
Well, I will say, in all honesty, I don't perform as much now as I used to, public performances, purely because Alex Sam Magic has got so busy. I've got a lot older. I've got kids now, so there's nothing that I enjoy more than when work finishes, coming home and sitting down with a cup of tea in front of the television. So I don't perform as much as I used to. I still have, you know, my wallet goes with me absolutely everywhere. Inside my wallet, I've got Extreme Burn. I've got a Hop in Halves. I've got a couple of lottery tickets, Leo's Lotto Square. I've got some of my currency cards. I have an effect set up called Shortlist, which utilizes the assassin. And the wallet is an assassin, so realistically I've got 20 or 30 minutes in here. Nice. So you got everything in there. Yeah. See, that's it. You've always got to, yeah.
Sorts of random
You've
stuff.
always got to have stuff ready to go. But as an opener, it really depends. I used to, a lot of people like very quick, snappy effects as opener. Now, I used to open with, when I was at tables, if I was doing magic, and still now, to be fair, if I'm at tables and I'm doing magic, I will usually open with something like Chicago Opener or Red Hot Mama. And I tell you for why. Because when you're performing magic at a table, there's your biggest hurdle is keeping everybody on the table interested. Because what you find is when you're performing to this person here, people at the other side of the table will just start talking to each other. Now, Chicago Opener, the method, what I have to do in Chicago Opener, lends itself perfectly to what I want to do to this table. So I go, I introduce myself. Hi guys, I'm Peter Nardi. I'm your magician for this evening. I'm going to be showing you just a couple of tricks. So if you bear with me, you know, I'll try and entertain you, whatever it is. So I say, we've got a deck of cards here. Who's the most trustworthy person here? Who's not going to tell me the wrong card? You, madam, what's your name? Okay, everyone give Sue a big round of applause. She's going to be helping me out. Blah, 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 blah. Sue, I want you to pick a card, show it around to everyone, make sure I don't see it, put it back in the pack. Phase 1 of Chicago Opener. Yep. The card goes down, I put a wine glass on it in front of me. But now I need to go into a Hindu false for card number 2. So instead of now speaking to this person, I speak to someone at the other side of the table. I say, sir, what's your name? Okay, you're going to help me out with this bit. Just say stop anywhere you want. This one. That makes sense of the Hindu false. I put it back. Now I've got these people interested because they've just seen it. And I've got his side of the table still interested because he's just seen it. So to me, that's the perfect opener. Plus you've got that magical moment, that card changes. Boom, you're done. It's a great trick. And a lot of people don't like tricks like that as an opener because they feel openers have to be short and snappy. But I think if you go in there with the right attitude and you keep yourself talking, the idea is to keep talking and keep referencing people. You know, when you get her to pick a card, look at these people. Keep everyone involved. So yes, as magic,
exactly.
My opener is Red Hot Mama. My opener of choice, purely because I get the whole table, or you know, 2 sides of the table involved in it. For mentalism, if I was doing mentalism in a close-up situation, I don't think there's any better opener really than something like Invisible Deck. You know, it's great, and you can get, once again, you can get the whole table involved.
Right.
So,
you know, I mean, and especially, I mean, having the Invisible Deck around as a, just as an out, you should have one on you anyway. I absolutely agreed with that. The Invisible Deck has saved my life so many times.
do you know what? There's for any of you guys out there that don't know, Alexander Magic, me and Dave Loosely, who's a fantastic magician that works with me, and there's another one, Andy Smith, as well. But me and Dave do a weekly vlog, a video blog. And it's on the, if you go on YouTube, it's the Alexander Video Blog channel, or you can find there's a whole section of blogs on our website. But there was one blog very recent, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we had a guest on there called Steve Della.
Okay.
And he has got a brilliant brilliant presentation for linking extreme burn and invisible deck. And I tell you what, as an opener, it would be phenomenal. A lot of magic and mentalism built into one. So go and check out the vlogs, but check out the one with Steve Della, and I tell you what, it's awesome. You'll all be doing it. It is just a great opener. He's got a couple of brilliant gags in there, and it's very, very strong, very entertaining, and very practical. So, you know, check that out, and I guarantee you'll be doing it.
Absolutely. I actually didn't know you guys did a vlog, so I'm going to be going back and checking out some old episodes after this.
Yeah, we do one every week.
Every week? Oh, that's good to know. How long have you been doing that? Just for my personal knowledge, how much time am I going to be devoting?
We haven't been. We used to do them, but they were pretty sporadic. But now we are doing them every week, and I think we've been doing them every week for maybe 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
You know, there's a few things that if you guys aren't, you know, familiar with Alakazam Magic, you should go and check out the site. We've got, obviously everyone's doing streaming videos on there, but if you go to our streaming video section, we've got a few up there that are free of charge. We've got a free trick on our website, which was a trick by Chris Webb called Prime. Just go onto our homepage, just find the buttons, download and watch this free trick, learn it. There's loads of stuff going on at Alakazam, and if you buy, I don't want to sound like a sales pitch, but it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you purchase an Alakazam product from Alakazam, we post it free, no matter where you are.
And that's good for everybody, you know, because nobody else does that, as far as I know. Not a single other site.
Yeah. So you know, we're really proud of our products, and we want to get obviously as many out there as possible. And a lot of people seem to support Alakazam products. So I'm really thankful for that. I want to thank everyone, you know, that's ever bought an Alakazam product, because it's for people like you that allow us to keep investing in new talent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, we are at the hour marker. Do you want to start the live contest?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So,
good luck, everyone.
I'm taking the 7th message. Start messaging me now. The word is shift, S-H-I-F-T. I will take the 7th message to me, and we'll announce at the end of the broadcast who the lucky winner of the Stealth Assassin wallet is. So I should start hearing clicks coming through. That being said, let's see here. There was one here from Glenn Hazen that you kind of touched on it, and I didn't know if you wanted to expand. It says, how do you combine the busy life of an artist, creator, shop owner, as well as family life?
Well, do you know what? Like I said, with creating, I've never once thought to myself, I've got to create something to sell. That's not what I do. So being a creator happens when it happens. You know, I don't sort of sit there thinking I've got to create. What we tend to do is we have a lot of people that come to us with tricks and say, oh, you know, Peter, do you like this? Could you release it? I do a lot of work on those tricks. Usually what gets released is not the same as what came through the doors in the first place. We've tweaked it and everything else. So, you know, the creative part doesn't take up too much of my time. It's just there when it's there. But with regards to performing business, nowadays my life is really taken up with Alakazam and family. Performing, I still do, but, you know, I've cut it right back, which is, you know, luckily I'm in a very good position where I can choose.
All right, we got the winner, everybody. Stop messaging. Sorry, I've gotten a barrage, so we got it. We got a winner here. So we'll announce that at the end. You can stop messaging me. Sorry to interrupt you there, Peter. I just got a barrage there. Go ahead.
No, not a problem. Yeah. So for for me, it's a lovely position to be in because I can pick and choose what jobs I want to do if they interest me, if you know what I mean. It's because my day-to-day job pays my wages, so you know, Alakazam takes up most of my time. I'm in the shop all day, and then when I come home, I'm still really Skyping people and discussing. So business doesn't stop when I come home, really. So yeah, that's how you juggle it. But you know, you've got to be careful because you've got a family, and your family wants your time as well as business. So you know, always be very thoughtful of how much you're working and how much you're spending with your family, because the family's equally as important.
Right, and that's something because I'm getting married here soon, and I've had so much success with my girlfriend, understanding that like I'm finally in a stage where I'm moving from doing my job as a full-time thing into performing as a full-time thing, and there's going to be an in-between time there where it's going to be a little hard, and she's been just absolutely supportive of the time I'm taking to devote to not just my performance career, but to Believe in Magic Place and my other pursuits that I'm working on right now. Knowing that, you know, there's a great potential for success here. And I plan to pay that back just as much as I can, as soon as I can.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, we are in that, when I was performing more, you know, you are in that profession where you are out, and you are out at the times when the kids are home, you know, you're out in the evenings and stuff like that. And it was, you know, for me, like I said, I think where my kids have got a bit older, where we've got a lot more busy with Alakazam, you know, I'm in a lucky position where I can pick what jobs I want to do. I still like to keep my hand in. I still like to go out and perform. I'm thinking of putting a new stand-up sort of show together because I haven't done that for a while. That's with Dave Loosely still keeps trying to talk me into doing like a bit of a show together. I'm more of the serious mentalist. He's going to do sort of comedy magic. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm doing it for my own enjoyment. You know, there's a difference with doing it because you have to do it to pay the bills, because then you've got to go out and you've got to do it. Whereas Alakazam is my job now. So the performance I do, if it enjoys, you know, or you know, if it pleases me to do it, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It's nice to, well, I mean, it's just like sales. Work sales on commission, and you have to make that sale. You have to make that sale. Like, you're going to force that any way possible, and it's going to be miserable. But if you already have base income and the commission's the icing on the cake, then you're going to just enjoy whatever you are, and you're probably going to be more productive. And it's nice that you've established a central income in Magic, which is something that's very hard to do for many people. It's just not something that many people can do with consistent income.
Yeah, it's you know, it's been a long, old, hard road to travel, but you know, Magic's been very, very good to me with regards to take away the income. Just the fact that when my kids were growing up, we were running Alakazam from home as a mail order business, and I was free to take my kids to school in the morning, pick them up in the evening, spend the day with my wife at home, and if the phone went, I would go and answer it and, you know, have a chat with a magician. They would buy some stuff. I would go to pick the kids up and drop the stuff off at the post office en route. So that, to me, is worth a lot. For the time when my kids were growing up, I was there, you know. And that's what Magic has given me. It's a fantastic art. It's a fantastic community we've got of magicians. You know, it's a great brotherhood.
Family. It really is. I mean, we fight sometimes, but it's a family.
Yeah. It's, you know, I love it. I love it. I love the the way people come in the shop, and a magic shop's different to a lot of shops, you know, because it's a hangout joint. People come in, we hang out, we chat magic, and you know, half the time I don't even, well, I still damn obviously in the shop, but I mean, most of the people that come in, we come in for a cup of tea and a chat. That's what a magic shop's all about, you know, and advice and help, and you know, we share ideas. It's great. I love this business. I love the people in it. You know, my customers are not customers; they're friends. We chat on the phone. You know, it's great.
No, absolutely, and something I've found, because I am somewhat of an unknown and kind of new to the community in general. I was alone for so long before I found any of this. It's been really kind of surreal meeting what in my head for a long time, because I wasn't part of the community, were just these people that were these huge people like yourself, and it's so nice of you guys to come out and do these Q&As and really just have a nice level conversation about what it is we do. And I mean, you all have been so supportive and nice, and it's really been great as a bit of a newcomer. So I want to thank you, and really the rest of everybody, but thank you for that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I mean, it's, you know, it's great for me. I don't do these things that often, and it's purely, you know, half of it is because I'm so disorganized. It really, I really am. You know, my mind is set. If I'm at work, I'm working. If I'm at home, I'm watching telly, and that's it. So, you know, you guys nailed me down with constant emails. The way to do it. That's the way to get me productive. Just keep banging away.
Well, I'm glad we were able to legally coerce you into this Skype chat. Or Google Hangout, excuse me. All right, I got a question from Sam Pena, and he asks a question I'd like to know. Can you tell us about your first performance?
Yeah, I mean, well, my first real performance, if we're not talking about friends and people like that, my first real performance was an eye-opener, and it was, it taught me a hell of a lot, really. And it was when we moved. I used to live in London, and we moved to Ashford, which is about 60, 70 miles away from London. And it's, you know, the whole area is a lot quieter, and this is where our shop is now. And I joined a magic club, and I'd been at the magic club for a few months, and they said, look, we're going to have a little night. We have it once a year. It's a charity night. And what we do is we set up 4 tables. We have a group of lay people around each table. You perform 8 minutes, and then you move around the table. So, you know, everyone gets to see everyone. And I remember at the Magic Club, it was a really, really nice club, but as with most clubs, a lot of people in the club didn't really do sleight of hand magic. There was only a few of us that did sleight of hand with cards. And I was doing what I considered to be the hardest sleight of hand magic tricks that I could do. You know, I was doing some pretty good stuff, not Dan and Dave, but, you know, it was pretty decent. And the reactions from the lay people was, yes, clever, yeah, well done. And I sort of sat there listening to other people getting these big reactions, and I'm thinking, hey, what I'm doing is so much harder than what you're doing. What's happening there? I don't understand, you know. And then later on in the bar, I started doing normal tricks, things like cartoon, and just little simple tricks, and the lay audience were going nuts, really, really going wild. And that's when it dawned on me that a lot of magic we learn as magicians are there to impress other magicians, not lay people. And that was a big lesson for me. That was a really big lesson. And it's, you know, it's not so much what you do. It doesn't matter how hard the trick is you're doing. It's how entertaining it is, how direct it is, how easy is it for your spectator to follow. They need to understand how impossible what you're doing actually is. That's why one of the best reactions you can get off a layperson is to get them to pick a card, do a double lift to the wrong card, shake it, and it now turns into their card. That is real magic to them. They can understand it. It wasn't their card. Now it's magically changed. Rather than, you know, doing some complicated stuff that they can't really follow, they don't really understand it, and they don't understand how impossible it is. As magicians, we understand. We can watch a card guy and go, do you know what? I didn't see an Elmsby count. I didn't see this. I understand how impossible that's got to be. How's that going to work? To a layperson, one trick is just as impossible. You can't get any more impossible than impossible. If that, right. You know, and it's that's the thing. If you haven't performed to lay people yet, just perform stuff that's direct, visual, interesting, stuff that they can follow. You know, all this really hard. I'm not saying that any trick that uses hard sleights is not good. It is good, but it depends what tricks you're doing. It's not good because it's hard. Put it that way. The difficulty of a trick does not make it better than a simple trick.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. But then again, that goes back into the idea of, you know, it's about the performer, not the trick. But I think the problem that a lot of people, especially magicians or a lot of magicians end up having, is, say you take like a difficult trick like the clip shift. That is such a difficult trick to get down, or the muscle pass. Like the muscle pass is just something I'm just getting now. And when you look at it, if you know how it's done, you're going, oh, but all you did was change a card. All you did was float a coin, and there's a million different ways to do both of those effects, much simpler and much cleaner and foolproof. And it's just as impressive, but you work so hard on getting these difficult things done that you just want to use them now. You just you
the thing is, you know, like a muscle pass, to be fair, that's sort of the exact opposite of what I'm saying, because that is hard to do, but that's also very visual, very simple to understand. So that's a great thing to learn. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
right. I was just making the point that it's a difficult thing, considering that you could achieve it with, say, some IT. You know.
Yeah. But it's a great, you know, anything like that. That's what I mean. When you perform to a lay spectator, a coin falling up is easy to understand. That shouldn't be happening. Right. You know, they see that and it looks like real magic. It's incredible. And there are certain things that do require. I mean, there are routines that I do that require more sleight of hand and more work. You know, I do palming, I do counts, and whatever else I need to do. So I do that stuff. But I will always make sure that the trick I'm doing for a spectator is sort of direct and easy. I don't want to confuse them. If I confuse them, I've lost them. So whatever
you're only adding that are necessary.
Pardon?
You're only adding necessary items to your routine. If it's not, you're minimalist. If it doesn't need to be there, get it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever seen a trick called Cataclysm?
Yes.
Cataclysm to me is perfect. It's easy to follow, and the reveal, the spectator already knows what should be happening before it happens. So they're already building that impossibility in their mind. You know, when I perform Red Hot Mama, with the second card, I do the sort of sucker thing where I go, and all I have to do is snap my fingers, and one of the cards will turn red. And I look through the deck, and there isn't a red card. So I look through again. And now you can start hearing little giggles. Oh, my God, he's messed it up. And then I say, oh no, there is a red card. It's right there, and I just point to it. And now you hear them saying, that can't be it. That can't. That was just my card. That can't. And they start building it in their own mind, you know. Yeah, and it's things like that. I think it's if you're performing to lay people, you'll soon learn what works and what doesn't, what gets a good reaction and what doesn't get a good reaction. And usually the stuff that gets the good reaction is the stuff they understand, the stuff that feels magical to them. You know, not the stuff that made me feel clever doing it. It was the stuff that was magical to them. So that was mostly the biggest lesson I learned during performing. Maybe one of the other big lessons I learned was not to hammer a nail up my left nostril, because it doesn't go up that one. It went up my right perfectly, not my left.
That's a difficult lesson to learn.
It was, and I did get covered in blood.
Yeah, well, see, and people try to get me to do that one. They tell me Q-tips first. Practice with Q-tips first. Yeah. Or the best advice I got was, okay, go to your doctor and tell them, look, I'm going to do this anyway. Show me how to do this safely.
Yeah, it's not the type of thing I'd recommend anyone do. But I remember I was doing a gig. We were it was a company's summer ball, and it was outside. Beautiful, beautiful place. And I remember going up to this group, and I was doing blockheads, so I got the nail out, you know, got it examined, put it on my nose. I always used to do it with my shoe, so I'd take my shoe off and hammer the nail up with my shoe. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do the other nostril. I'd never done it before, but, you know, I'll do it. Took the nail out, gave it a couple of hits, and I felt it hit something. And I thought, okay, I've got two options here. I either stop with the left nostril and look like a bit of a failure, or just give it a really big whack. And unfortunately, I took the second option.
Oh, no.
And it was not good. It was not good.
How hard would it have been to just take it and put it in the next one and go, okay, let's just go and try this one again, you know?
Yeah, that's one of those moments where I think to myself, just think about it a little bit more. You know, it was option A I should have went for. Yeah.
Oops.
So that wasn't good.
We said that, right?
It wasn't good. But luckily, it bled, but then almost instantly stopped. It was quite weird. So I don't know if they thought it was fake blood or, you know, what else, but it wasn't a nice feeling.
I'm sure it was. We'll see. You know, you take failure and just turn it over, right?
Yeah.
Pushak Dua asks, what do you do if people don't quite give you the reaction that you're looking for? If it's not if they don't react at all, or they're not getting you're not getting the reaction that you're looking for.
Right, that's a brilliant question, and I'm going to explain a couple of things about that. I will say as well, going back to the opener question, something else I used to do a lot in opening, I used to perform Bill in Kiwi or Bill in Lemon at tables, and if I was going to perform that, my opener would be, and it's an old John Bannon idea, I think, I would hand them the deck of cards, get them to take the cards out of the box, make sure they've got all the cards. I would have the Kiwi or Lemon palmed here. I would take the box, squeeze the box, and then toss out so it looks like it comes from an empty box. And that was a nice, sharp opener, because then I could go into, later on during the act, I could go into the Bill in Kiwi or whatever else. So that I just wanted to throw that in. But the other question, do you know what? When I first started, inside, and I think it's a battle that we all face within, which is we want everyone to enjoy what we're doing. You know, we enjoy it. We want them to enjoy it. And I remember going to a gig once. There's a few. I mean, there was a really bad gig I done once, and I'll tell you about that in a bit as well. But there was. I went to a gig, went to a table, and there was a woman sitting there, and I said, "Oh, you know, hi, I'm Peter. I'm the magician. Just here to show you a few tricks." Not interested. I said, "Oh, you know, let me show you something. You might enjoy it." "No, I don't like magic." And I said, "Well, let me see if I can change your mind. Let's start with something." "All right, if you want to do something, do something." So I showed her a trick, good trick. She went, "Yeah, that's all right." Now inside, I'm thinking, right, I'm gonna get a reaction out of you. So I showed her another trick. "Yeah, that's all right." I showed her something else. "Yeah, it's all right." And there was no reaction. And I must have stayed with her for 15 minutes. And then afterwards, I just gave up. And it wasn't until I'd left. And I thought, do you know what? I wasted 15 or 20 minutes with that woman that didn't want to see it. Even if she did enjoy it, she wouldn't have let on. Whereas there was other people that would have loved to have seen it that have now missed out because I spent all that time with this person. And I say, if you're out there performing, if someone says to you, "Oh, no, we'd rather not," leave them. Move on. You're there to entertain the guests. If they don't, for one, you don't know what their situation is. I went to, you know, I'm quite embarrassed to say this, but I was working at a residency. I used to have a residency when I first moved to Ashford in a restaurant. And there was a couple of ladies sitting at a table. Went up, introduced myself. "Would you mind if I showed you a trick?" "Oh, no, we're fine, thank you." "Oh, go on, it's only going to take up a couple of minutes of your time, and you know, you'll enjoy it." No, honestly, we're fine." "Oh, you know, it's don't worry, you don't have to pay me all the gags, this and the other." "No, honestly, you know, we're fine." And I think I tried once when she said, "Look, we've just buried our father, and we're not interested in seeing a card trick." And at this point, I realised I don't know what these people have been through in that day. I don't know what they're there to talk about. I don't, you know, if I go up and they say, you know, "I'd rather not," then they'd rather not. I move on. If they hear the great reactions from the other table and then they go, "Actually, let's have a look at what he's got to do," and that happens a lot. People go, "No, I'm fine." You then move on, you perform to another table. They then start to realise that you're not there to make fun of them. You're not there to embarrass them. You're there to entertain them. And they go, "Oh, would you mind coming back and, you know, doing something here?" So, yeah, I would say if you don't get certain people, you're not going to get a reaction for. Some of them will just not be interested. Some people see magic as a challenge, and they feel that if they react to it, somehow they've lost this sort of intellectual battle with you, you know. Some people want to guess at everything you're doing. I had this lovely little old lady once. I was performing at a restaurant, and she said to me, "Oh," she called me over. She went, "Young man, you're very, very good, but I saw you putting everything up your sleeve." Now I wasn't putting anything up my sleeve, but she went, I saw you putting everything up there," and I said, "Oh." I said, let me show you something, but this time I'll do it with my sleeves up." So I rolled my sleeves up, showed her another trick, and she went, "You're so quick. I saw it go up." So, you know, if they think they know what you're doing, they think they know what you're doing. You can't convince them otherwise. So, yeah, in honesty, if you're not getting the reaction from certain people, but you are getting the reaction with the tricks from other people, then I wouldn't say it's the trick that's wrong. I would say that the people just weren't prepared to open up to you, you know. And it does happen. Even to the best of us, it happens, you know. And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just saying, you know, even to the best of people, it happens.
Right. Right. No, and I absolutely agree. You know, just magic is such a mindset thing. If you're not interested that day, you're not interested. I generally will have a card where I'm ready to take and do that. And if they don't, and just be like, well, you know, if you change your mind, here's my card. And if they don't take it, go, all right, well, you know,
Yeah.
if they anyway, and then I move on. You know, it's just a couple of quick things within in social interaction. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just asking if you'd like a card, and you're saying no. Okay, well, you know, I'm a magician. I'm making things appear and disappear. That should be a given. And then I move on. And some people just don't like magic. I have friends that just don't like magic, and they don't like watching me perform.
Yeah, and you've got to understand as well, a lot of these people don't know what to expect. They've never seen a magician before. And if they have, it's most probably been on TV. They might have seen some terrible guy somewhere that just brought someone up on stage and just ripped them to shreds. They don't know what to expect, you know. So your job, you are paid to go to this place and entertain people. Now, that doesn't include make them feel uncomfortable. If they don't want to see you, they don't want to see you. And you haven't lost anything. You just move on and see the people that do want to be entertained. And then 9 times out of 10, you'll find that the people that maybe didn't want to see you will call you back once they've seen what you've done, once they've heard the reactions from other tables. You know, and the thing is, what I don't know, because over here in the UK, the audiences are a lot stiffer. You know, we're not as open with emotions and applause as you are in America. So sometimes it's nice to get them used to applauding, to allow them to realise it's okay to do it. So what I do during my first trick is I say, okay, you know, I used to do John Allen's destination box, which is, I used to do it with a folded note into, you know, impossible location. And I say, now I need, who's the most trustworthy person on the table? June, okay, June, you're going to be my magical assistant for today. Your job is to keep an eye on that. Everyone give June a big round of applause. Now they're clapping, now they're used to clapping. That's it, they're now open to it, you know. So straight away, you've got an applause, and they're ready to do it again. Do you know what I mean? They now know it's a natural thing. But I will tell you that the worst gig I ever did was a Christmas job. And it was for a big cruise company. And they hired me, and I was supposed to be starting at 7 o'clock in the evening. I turned up at 6 o'clock, I met the booker, and said, right, 2 things. One, they've been in the pub since 1 o'clock, drinking. And 2, if they don't want to see magic, don't show them any magic. So both of those things are not good news, right? So I was booked for 2.5 hours of performing. I turned up, I went to the table, and I believe in that night I most probably performed 3 effects all night in 3 hours, because I would be trying to perform an effect here. If I had their attention, someone from another table would throw something at them. If I was performing coins across, I mean, literally, they were so drunk that I could have been doing anything. At one point, and I will say this actually happened, I was doing coins across, using sleight of hand and everything else, and with one girl, I literally, openly, just said, look, how many coins in your hand? And she said, none. I said, how many in mine? She said, 3. I said, look at me and just count to 5. And I took the coin, openly put it on her hand, and said, just look down. And she freaked out. Where she was so drunk, that coin just appeared in her hand. I mean, it was the worst job. And I left that job beating myself up, really angry at myself, really upset, feeling that I was a failure, you know. But it wasn't. They just, you know, a magician was a wrong person. All they wanted was drink, you know. So, you know, you are going to have jobs like this. I wish I could turn around and say that every job you do is going to be fantastic and everything's going to be fantastic. But even the best people in the world will have the odd person they're performing to that just don't buy into it. And it's something that, one, you shouldn't beat yourself up over. Two, don't feel that you've let anyone down because you haven't. Three, don't feel that you've done something wrong because you didn't. It's literally, some people just aren't going to watch it for whatever reason. Move on and show people that do want to watch it. That's it.
Right. Well, you know, in all performance arts, artists have bad nights. It's not just the magicians, you know. Bands go out and miss songs. You know, comedians come out and bomb. And the best comedians come out and bomb. You know, I saw a very famous comedian here at Improv, and we expected him to come out and great, but he said the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time and lost the crowd for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was raving about the opener, and it was just, it was kind of sad. So it's one of those things that you just kind of have to understand that it's not all rainbows and sunshine and ponies. Like, it's it's hard, and you just kind of have to agree with the people who agree with you, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. And at the end of the day, you know, we're paid to go there and entertain. And you go there and you show, you're not, you know, we're not sent there to argue with people. We're not sent there to take abuse off people. We're not sent there to try and convert people. We're there as entertainment. And, you know, the way I see it is I want to spend my time entertaining the people that want to be entertained, you know, and spending my time with the people that are enjoying what I'm doing, because they're the people that are going to rebook me. They're the people that are going to be praising me, you know, praising me to the booker. And that's what you want. You know, so, oh, another good opener. These keep popping into my head. And it's a trick that's usually people think is a beginner's trick, but it's great. If you do card magic and you do different sorts of magic, another great like mental footy. Print the deck, put the deck away, go into a sponge ball routine, a coin routine, whatever you're doing, then bring out a regular deck, and they're going to think that's the same deck you've just printed, and then at the end you can switch back and turn them all blank again. Once again, for lay people, stuff like mental photography, even though it's not hard to do, there's so much visual magic for no work on your part, really. So there you go. There's another little piece of Nardi gold.
Nardi gold. That we're going to start a segment called Nardi Gold now.
The Nardi's Nuggets.
Nardi's Nuggets. That's right. That's perfect. Kevin Cunliffe. God, I think I said.
Kevin.
Was that right?
Yeah, Kevin Cunliffe. Yep.
Cunliffe.
Great guy. Does great invisible thread work.
He's asking you, being both a performer as well as a creator, has there ever been a missed opportunity that you regretted? For example, a person had freely named a card you were expecting to predict later with your act, or an extra routine with a product or gimmick that may have been better than the original product. So like, do you kind of get the question? Do I need to reform it?
I think as a manufacturer, no, I understand the question. As a manufacturer, there have been times where I've been approached with tricks, and for whatever reason, I didn't feel they were right for Alakazam. And then later on, I think to myself, do you know what? I wish I would have done that. But do you know what? It's really, really hard, because sometimes, I mean, I turn away a lot of tricks. People approach me with stuff, and Alakazam, I've got very certain criteria for Alakazam. Now, the fact is, and this is the honest truth, I've turned stuff away that have gone on to be massive sellers for other people. But even after it's a massive seller, I still wouldn't have taken it on with Alakazam, because it doesn't fit into my criteria. And my criteria really is the stuff that we release. I want to be a worker, a real worker for people that are out there performing. I don't want YouTube magic. I'm not just looking at the latest street fad. I always look for stuff that I think, do you know what? A real magician who's out gigging will buy this and he will use it. So there's a lot of stuff that I've turned down that has gone on to sell thousands. Do I regret it? Maybe financially, but no, I don't, because it doesn't fit into our category. Do you know what? With Alakazam, and I've always said this, not everything we release is going to appeal to everyone. But even if the trick doesn't appeal to you, I still hope that you know that, do you know what, if you buy that, it's not for me, but if you buy it, I know you're going to get a quality product that does what it says on the tin. That's what I've tried to get over with Alakazam. I don't want any little shocks when you open it. Is that all it is? Is that all it is? I want it to be, you know, yeah. Whether I regret it or not, I don't think I regret it, because if it wasn't right for us, it wasn't right for us. And you always have those moments where you think, wow, it's been such a good seller. But if it's not right, it's not right for us, you know? And what was the other part of the question?
The other part, well, it was kind of in general. That was, you talked about your missed opportunities as a creator and as a shop owner. But what about, like, while performing? Say, like, somebody picked a card and you had this big reveal set up for later, and you went, you could have been on art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the only time I can remember that happening, and I wouldn't allow it to go by now, was I was performing. There's an effect that I used to perform all the time, and I was known for, which was an effect called Hollywood or Bust. And it's a phenomenal effect. It's explained on the Assassin DVDs. And it was a trick that people knew me for, you know, both magicians and lay people, for years. I don't do it as often now, because I've sort of lost track of who the big actors are. There's so many actors coming out now. There's so many movie stars now that, you know, I wouldn't have a clue. But back then, you could count them on one hand. You know, you had George Clooney, you had Brad Pitt. You know, there was about 5 or 10 people. But I was doing Hollywood or Bust. The lady put down Julia Roberts. Basically, the idea is, I asked them to imagine being in a cinema. They're looking at the big screen. They're going to see the name of their favourite Hollywood movie star appear on that screen. And then I get them to write the name down. That goes into the wallet. And then I say to them, in fact, imagine the name starting to vanish, and now a movie that this person has starred in appears on that screen. I now hand them another business card. They now write the name of the movie, and they hold that between their hands like this. So now I've obviously piqued the star, but now I've got to go into real mind reading mode and try and determine what movie they've gone for. So the woman had written Julia Roberts. Now, at the time, the big movie that would have been related or associated with Julia Roberts was one of the famous ones, even today, will be Pretty Woman. So, but I don't know that at the time. I don't know what she's written. So now it's down to me to try and do some real mind reading to find out. So I'm holding on to her hands. I say, okay, is there only one major star in this movie, or are we looking at two, maybe a leading man and a leading lady? So I ask questions like that to try and make sure I'm going down the right track. So she starts, she says, oh no, there's two. So straight away I'm going, okay, and just think about whether this is a horror film, a thriller, maybe a comedy. I'm getting romance, like a romantic comedy. Yeah. So now I know, 99.9% sure it's Pretty Woman. So I say, okay, and have you written down the name of the leading lady or the leading man? The leading lady. Okay, I want you to concentrate on that lady for me. So then I reveal it's Julia Roberts and the movie's Pretty Woman. And I said, and that's, you know, that's great. So she reacted and she went, oh, and also Pretty Woman's playing. and the music was playing. It started halfway through me reading her mind, and I didn't pick up on it. If I would have picked up on it, that would have been my reveal. You know, I would have said, and not only that, before we even started, I asked them to play this right now. But I didn't. I didn't pick up on it, and that was the biggest missed opportunity. I beat myself up over that for ages, because that would have been a legend moment. You know, before he even come up to me, he had planned for them to play that song. I mean, how incredible is that? So yeah, that's the biggest missed opportunity, I think.
That would have been there was, I think, was it Berkeley's that I saw an interview for? I saw an interview for I was watching probably months ago, where a guy did any card at any number, just because somebody was like, put a deck in front of him, was like, well, you know, here's this card, this number, let's do this. And he was like, okay, deal down to that number. And it was that card. And his explanation was like, luck. You know, I would just happen to be lucky that time. You know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what makes legends sometimes, is, you know, how else it could be done.
Do you know what? The art to that, we were filming years and years ago, actually. We were filming a magician, very good magician, and he was performing some girls at a bar, and they said, oh, can you do any of that Darren Brown stuff? And he said, yeah. So she went, okay, I'm going to, I forgot what way it went, whether she was going to think of a card and he was going to try and get it, or yeah, that's right. She went, I'm going to think of a card, you try and tell me what it is, right? So she thought of a card, and he went through the deck and he outjogged one, and he said, what was your card? And she said, 7 of Hearts, and that's the card he had outjogged. But instead of just turning it round, he got overexcited, and it just, you knew that he hit it by luck. There was no confidence there. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have, if you're going to do that, have the confidence to afterwards, if it's a card at any number or whatever. And I always throw one of those in. I always throw I'd set up something that's totally impossible. And if it works, I'll just go, yeah, that's just something I'm planning on releasing. But, you know, I can't say any more about it at the moment. You know, and just walk off. That's how legends are made, you know. It's,
right.
And you've got to have the confidence. If you ever try something like that, then you've got to have the confidence to pull it off.
Right. All right, so we're getting up to almost our 2-hour mark. We're at 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
I know, right? Time has flown. Let's go through one more question, and then we'll do the final contest. Before we do that, is there anything in particular you wanted to, I don't know, show us? I don't know if you have any work that you're willing to play with, or if you want to just do an effect for us.
I can do you an effect. I can tell you, actually, there's one thing we've got quite a few things coming out between now and Christmas. There's, for you guys that are out there performing, we've got a lovely, lovely version of Out of This World coming out called The Uninvited. It's got a really nice premise of getting a couple to create an imaginary party in their mind, and it's all about a guest list. So that's really good. That's going to be worth checking out. Our next release is a brilliant colour changing deck by Dave Loosely. But I've got something that I'm really pleased with. It's something that I've been working on for quite a while, and it's called Limitless. It will be out in December, and I'm not going to say any more than that, but all I am going to say is this is something that once again was created for me. It was my need and want to be able to do this. Oh, well, I'll give you a rough idea. I've got a deck of cards. I riffle them in front of your face. You think of any one of the cards you see. Yeah? Instantly, with no sleight of hand, that card that you're just thinking of, you don't even tell me it, has now vanished from the deck. And I'm not talking about doing double undercuts. I'm not talking about anything. Literally, the moment you see it, it's gone. And obviously that card can be in a beer bottle, behind a window, under your foot, in your wallet. And I created that for me. And this was one of those things. I wanted to create something that would appear really impossible, that I could perform as a quick trick as I was leaving a venue. If someone said, can you just show me one more thing? I could do it quick. I could build more of a performance out of it. There was a great idea that my friend Mark Spellman shared with me, which I do with this as well, which is I will stick cards under certain chairs in a when I'm doing a job, and I will do this. And then this will be my last trick at the table. And I'll say, look, you know, we'll try one more thing before I go. We'll do something quite quick. Just think of one of those cards. Have you got one in your mind? Okay, what card were you thinking of? And they tell, or they don't even have to tell you. You go through the cards, their card's gone. And I say, have a look under your chair. And it's under their chair, and that's all I need to do. Just walk off, and you've left them with a killer.
I like the title Limitless. That really describes it well.
It's really good. It's something I'm very, very pleased about. It's something I'm very excited about. It's something that a worker's going to love. It allows, you know, whether you just want to do it and do it as straight mind reading, whether you want to do a card through window, thought of card in wallet, you know, it just opens up the door. This is the vehicle that gets you to an impossible ending. What that ending is down to you, you know. But yeah,
the prestige, as it were.
Indeed. What do you want to see? Do you want to see a card at any number? Do you want to see? Yeah. What do you want to see? Name it. Name a miracle, and I'll perform it for you.
Let's do an any card at any number.
Right. Okay. This isn't any card at any number.
Okay.
This is a card at any number. Now, I don't know how best to do this because you're going to have to trust me on a lot of this, I think. There's an envelope.
Okay.
And inside here is a playing card. Let me see if we can set this up. Right, can you see the... There you go, that's all right, mate.
I can see that.
Right, okay, this is a black envelope, so we've got a bit of black art going on there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this single envelope with a single card, and I'm going to place it right there. Okay? There is only one envelope in play, and I guarantee you there is only one playing card in there. Okay?
Okay.
That's not the deck we're going to use. This is the deck we're going to use. So no messing about anywhere. It's as straight as it's going to be. Now, honestly and truthfully, you didn't know we were going to do this.
No.
I haven't asked you to think of any numbers beforehand. I haven't asked you to think of any cards beforehand. We haven't discussed any tricks beforehand or anything. So this is totally on the fly. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Give me any number between 1 and 52.
17.
Okay. Watch carefully. Okay? 17. Nothing in the box?
Nothing in the box.
Okay. Now, I want you to see all the cards as I deal them down. Yes? So you know I'm not doing anything silly. It's not a one-way false deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah?
Yeah, 69.
Happy?
Yeah.
The 6 of diamonds.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful, man. That was great.
And that is, obviously, there is, I want to stress, there was no pre-show at all between us. That is as it is.
I wasn't even supposed to be interviewing you, so yeah, absolutely. That was great. Wow, man. So if I say, how do you do that? No, no, that was brilliant, man.
And it's even better if you were here in person, because you can take the deck and examine it. There's, you know, there's no rough and smooth. There's no sticky cards. There's no anything. I give you the deck before the trick happens. Bang, 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 and it's there.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
Let me try something else out with you. Me and my good lady, we actually get on very, very well. There's only one thing we argue about. Well, actually, there's two things we argue about, but one of the things is the cinema. We both love going to the cinema. The major problem is I like horror films and she likes romantic comedies. So we can never, ever agree on what to go and see. Now, there's this great retro cinema round where I live, and we like to go there once or twice a month. And they've got 6 screens. So we thought the fairest way to decide what we wanted to go and see would be one of us would go up to the screens, write down what was showing, come back, the other one would choose a number between 1 and 6, and then whatever was at that number, we would have to go and see. Yep. So,
okay.
So she wouldn't know what was playing, but she would give a number. So whatever was at that number, it's only fair we go and watch it. Okay, she can't make a judgment. But what she didn't realise is I can actually influence her choice. So we always go to see what I want to see. Thanks, son. And I'm gonna try and demonstrate that on you right now.
All right.
Okay. Inside my wallet here, I don't know if you can see that, but I've got this card here contains a movie that I would like to see, and there is a little slip of paper. You've got a bit of white art going on here, but there's a little slip of paper, and on that slip of paper, I've written the 6 screens and what's playing. Okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is just, I want you to look into my eyes. I'm going to take my glasses off, look into my eyes, and I want you to imagine walking into a cinema. You're going to see up above you, you see the counter, you see all the sweets on offer, all the drinks. I want you to look past those. You're going to look up and you're going to see the sign where it tells you what's playing at the cinema. Okay? Now, you're not going to see the name of the movies, but you're going to see the numbers. You're going to see number 1, screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4, screen 5, screen 6. Now, one of those screens is going to start screaming out to you. It's going to say, come and see me. What screen do you say? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6?
3.
3. Okay, now watch. Watch. Okay, remember what I said? In here, we have the list of films, and we have the card of the movie that I want to see. There is really only one of these. I'm going to place it down here so you can see. Let me put that down. And there's the slip, yes? Now, yes. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this. This is going to be the awkward part. Let's see if we can get this right. Can you see what's written on there?
Yes.
Okay, what's on screen 1?
Pretty Woman.
Screen 2?
Jaws.
Screen 3.
Halloween.
Screen 4.
The Goonies.
Screen 5.
Forrest Gump.
And screen 6?
Grease.
Grease. Okay, you chose screen 3. What's on at screen 3?
Halloween.
Okay. Is there any way that you feel that I could have influenced you at all to choose Halloween? Honestly, as a magician, could I have influenced you there?
No, there's no way. I sat there and thought about it real hard for a minute.
Thanks, Donnie. Well, this is the movie that I want to see. The movie that I was going to try and influence you to pick.
That's awesome.
Can you see that?
Yeah, Halloween. That's it's the horror film. You look at
that is what we call shortlist, and I used to use that as my intro into Hollywood or Bust. So this would be my quick little opener before I went into Hollywood or Bust. You know, and it's great. It's a great little trick. Okay, I'll tell you what we're gonna do is we'll try this. I haven't done this for years, but we'll give it a go. If it works, it's great. If it don't work, everyone ignore it. What I want you to do is I want you to imagine just imagine a pack of cards. In fact, just name spot cards or picture cards.
Spot cards.
Okay, so out of the spot cards, do we want the? Actually, hang on, this is the wrong trick. Sorry, this is the wrong trick. Let's try this one. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. This one. This is the one. Right. So it can be spots or pictures. Sorry.
That's okay.
This is a deck of cards. I want to show you this here, which can you see the cards, or is it whiting out? Yeah. Okay. So we've got a deck of cards. All 52 are there. Now this is what I call my training deck of cards. On the back of each one of these cards, I've written a number between 1 and 52. And the job is that the cards are in a random order, and I've written the numbers on in a random order. So it's not like number 1 is the ace of spades, number 2 is the 2 of spades. And what I use this deck as sort of a memory aid, and it's a way to enhance my memory. So on the back of each one of these cards is a number between 1 and 52, and I've got to memorize what card relates to what number. Okay? So on the 3 of clubs in my deck, I've written the number 37. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Yep. On the Queen of Hearts, I've got 21. Okay. Jack of Spades is 11, and so on all the way through the deck. So it's sort of a memory tool. But we're going to try something else with these cards. Just name any card in the pack.
Any card?
Yeah. Not a joker.
Yeah. Yeah. The guaranteed. No. We'll go 9 of clubs.
9 of clubs. Good choice. As I go through, you'll see there is literally only one 9 of clubs. If it's still there, it is. Yep. Okay. I'm going to place that down here. Let's go for a different card. Something else. Completely different.
2 of hearts.
2 of hearts.
Yep.
Good choice. 2 of hearts. And we've got 9 of clubs, 2 of hearts. Give us a different one.
6 of diamonds. Trying to really go random here.
Well, yes, good. Good choice. 6 of diamonds. There we go. So this puts us in a sort of interesting position, because if I could tell you what numbers were on the back of these cards, it's great, but it's no more than just a memory feat. And I've already sort of proved that I've memorized everything because I did it with the 3 cards to start with. But what makes this really interesting is that I've got a prediction. Now, the prediction here is 3 cards face down. Now, you haven't memorized my deck of cards, but I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the 9 of clubs is number 17, the 2 of hearts is number 49, and the 6 of diamonds is number 8. Not only have I predicted your cards correctly, I've actually predicted the order you were going to name them in. Now, is that a miracle or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is, obviously, you haven't memorized my deck.
No, I haven't.
So the only way I can prove it is to turn over the 9 of clubs and show you that's got number 17 on the back. Turn over the 2 of hearts and show you that's got 49 on the back. And turn over the 6 of diamonds and show you that's got number 8 on the back.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. Was that is that a release? That was
yeah.
No, we talked about this. We actually this is the one we just talked about this earlier. No, absolutely. That's
yeah.
That's a good one, man.
This is Cataclysm.
Cataclysm. That's right. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah, that's I mean I've seen the ad copy, but I haven't seen it performed live for me. That's that was just so open and wow. I wasn't expecting it to be that open.
And that's what it is every single time. It's there's no, that wasn't a lucky out. That is how it is. That is Cataclysm, and that's why I was saying that's the type of trick I like to perform on spectators, because it gets a few people involved usually. I get different people to name the cards, but as soon as that picture comes out, that's it. They know what has to happen now. The picture's here. You've got the numbers on the back. Now, in their mind, they're already building the impossibility of going, it can't be, it can't be, it can't be. And when you turn it over, you just get this massive sort of, how? You know, how on earth did you do it? They build up the impossibility in their own mind.
I'll be honest, even though I've seen the ad copy, watching you do it, the entire time I was kind of going, no. No. Okay, we'll see. No. You know, I wasn't quite sure where you were going to get there at, right there at the end. But yeah, you know, everything was just so neat. I'd like to see that in person. I'll be perfectly honest.
It will look exactly the same. You can watch them do that 100 times at a convention. It will look exactly the same. It's such, and this is what I'm saying with regards to products that we put out. They're all solid, workable products. That's the thing. You know, that is reset. The cards go back anywhere in the deck, and I'm reset. There's no stack. Just push them in. Bang. And they were freely chosen cards. You haven't been coerced. You could have named any card you wanted. They're the cards you chose.
Anything, you know, I made it difficult.
Sorry?
I said if anything, I made it intentionally difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, you know, it's one of those things, once again, there's no rough and smooth. There's no secret writing. It's as clean as it looks. It's so clean that this is actually one of the tricks we used on that TV show, Impossible. And the magician himself was completely hands off Philip was over here looking in a mirror with one contestant. They were sort of visualizing cards in the mirror, and the other contestant was sliding the cards out themselves. So, you know, you don't even, you know, I don't have to go through them. I spread them on the table. You can slide out the cards you want. Yeah, it's such a great trick. Such a great trick. I hate to sort of blow my own trumpet all the time, or not my trumpet, but the company's trumpet. But we've got such a strong back catalogue of products.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for showing us so much. Going right into our own little mini set there. That was really good. I really appreciate that. You did, I mean, that was just. What was that?
I said you're more than welcome.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the end, so I'm just going to go ahead and circumvent that as our last question. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and announce the winner. The winner of the Assassin Wallet, and I'll have him get his information over to you as soon as possible, was Darren Wolf. So congratulations, Darren. That's right. He was the 7th message. Now then, we are at the end of our broadcast, and we have one more contest for those who weren't able to watch on the live feed. We are going to do one more messaging contest, just like the live one. What I would like you to do is send me a message personally at the link below, and this time the word is going to be pull, P-U-L-L. Send me the word pull, and what we will do is I take and put the names on cards. These are from last week so far. I put the name on cards and then take and go through and shuffle them for a while, and then have my girlfriend pick it. So cool. That's how we get our winners for that, and our prize will be?
It will be ES Perfect, my product. Or, in fact, you know what? Let's make it a Cataclysm.
Okay. Absolutely.
Seeing as that really impressed you?
Yeah, no, impressed me. What was that?
So the winner will get a Cataclysm.
Absolutely. You heard it here. The winner will get a Cataclysm, so start messaging me the word pull as soon as you can, 1 entry per person. And here in 1 week on October 3rd, we will go ahead and announce the winner on the Believe in Magic Play site, and I will get in contact with you personally.
Fantastic.
All right, so I want to one last time thank you again, Mr. Peter Nardi, for everything that you've done and spending your precious time with us. So thank you, sir. Woo! Everybody's applauding.
Welcome.
Hear them. Just
really enjoyed it, and I hope I hope
ahead.
the guys out there enjoyed it.
Well, I've been watching kind of things go on, especially with the questions and all the different stuff, and I'm pretty sure this has been our most successful Q&A yet in our young history. So I'm already starting to get polls come in. Look at that. So I think that this went really well, and thank you very much for bringing your fan base to us.
Oh, that's great. It was an absolute pleasure. It's the first time I've done one of these, but it's been really enjoyable.
Absolutely. Well, again, we want to thank you one last time, and just for our viewers, the next few Q&As coming up are October 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern. We have Roger hosting. We have October 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern, Smoothini, the Ghetto Houdini, will be guesting. And then on October 11th at noon Eastern, we have Jason Pelter. So the hosts will be announced throughout the week, and more information to come. That's our schedule. Thank you, Peter, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Top stuff. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.